It's on this Ram 2012. My God, words, words, words. Welcome back to the channel, folks. Today's video is going to be different in that I'm not doing DIY work on my personal vehicles. I'm doing DIY work on this 2012 Ram 1500. I decided to do this. I don't normally want to work on other people's vehicles. I am not a mechanic. It's not my trade. This is my sister's fiance's truck. And since it's family, I decided why not. And I like to learn new things. I do like a challenge because when you work on the same few vehicles, it's kind of mundane and you can only create so much content from those few vehicles. After a while, it gets kind of boring. So I have some new content, but I also have a new challenge because I've never done brakes on a body-on-frame vehicle. This has different suspension travel, like much longer. This has different jacking points than a unibody SUV like the Flex does, or like the BMW. These tires, even though they're 17-inch rims, these are huge. It's got 5-point lugs on it. And it's a Ram, or Chrysler, or Stennis, whatever the hell it's called now. So I welcomed the challenge. They asked me to do a pad slap on the front. And I said, as long as the rotors are in decent shape, you could get away with it. Personally, I always replace rotors. When I looked at the rear, though, I said the rear does need new pads and it does need new rotors. So they gave me the materials to get the job done. Let's see if I can get it done before the rain comes in and I get rained out, as in all my other videos. Shall we? To get started I got to remove the tire. To do that, while the truck's on the ground, before I lift it, I'm going to crack all the lug nuts loose. Because this is not a four-wheel drive truck, only two-wheel drive, there is nothing to give the wheel resistance to stop it from rotating once it's in midair. 22 millimeter, away we go. That might be cross-threaded. That lug nut was cross-threaded. Interesting. That lug nut was cross-threaded as well. Ouch. Well, yeah, that lug nut's cross-threaded. Well, damn. Yep. I don't have a thread chaser to fix that. With those broke, now I'm going to lift the truck up. And if you're like me, you work on the ground in a driveway, this is the jacking point I chose to jack this truck up, right here on the frame rail itself, the jack and the jack stand. I've read online that people will use the front cross member or the axle, or in the rear, they will use the rear axle. Also, keep in mind that if you're working on trucks, since they do ride higher, you might need a higher floor jack and a higher jack stand, because as you jack these up, these have a lot of suspension travel, and you may not have enough height on the jack or the jack stand to get the tire off the ground. So with our truck jacked up, we can remove the lugs now. Oh, there's a little friend right there. I don't think he made it. I'm wondering how the hell they got in there. Oh, probably climbed through the spline right there. Something tells me this tire is going to be stuck on this rim. So we're going to need a very big friend to break it loose. So I'm going to use a sledgehammer and hit the sidewall of the tire to break the rust bond that the tire has to the rotor. As you're doing this, be careful that you hit the tire itself and not the rim, and also make sure that you don't hit it hard enough where you could potentially debead your tire. And just like that, the tire is broke free. The slide pin bolts are a size 13, and the caliper pin, or the caliper bracket mounting bolts, are a size 21. Let's see if this that wasn't so hard. Those are pretty small. Caliper itself should slide off, but you can use a screwdriver to get in here and push these pistons back to give you some room to slide this caliper off. Well, the pins aren't locked. That's a good thing. Oh, man. Holy crap. This is a little much here. Ugh. As you stick a screwdriver in here and try and push these pistons back, be careful that your screwdriver doesn't flip or slip and nick your boot. What the heck? Man. I mean, okay, my patience is about shot. What am I caught on? What am I missing? Is it really just the pins? The pistons don't want to slide? Is that really the issue here? What the heck? Well, this is becoming a challenge. Just to get this caliper off. What the f? Oh my God. That was annoying. Now you don't want to let this hang because you'll ruin this hose. So you want to, if you have a hanger, you can get a hanger and hang it off the upper control arm here. Or do what I'm going to do and set it up out of the way up here. That was mildly infuriating. At least the pads don't look too bad. Well, they're not seized in the bracket. That's a good thing. Okay. Not too shabby. Definitely on the low side. That's the inner pad. Was even lower. The groove, the vent groove is gone, and the material right here is gone, so pretty much metal on metal. Now these big bolts are a 21mm, and something tells me I'm gonna need an impact to get them on. I'm not even gonna try it. So another tip is when you're doing your front brakes, make sure your wheels are turned left or right, depending on what side you are working on. I'm on the right side, so the wheel is turned to the left, so that these bolts have more room right here to work with, so that I can get tools like this in here. If this was straight, I'd be up against this. Well, that was easy. That might not be so easy. I might need a swivel here. And that was my knee. Well, that's done. And the rotor actually popped off the hub. I'm going to take it off and clean the hub face up right here and clean the rotor off and put the rotor back on. Now up here on the bench, I need a bigger bench. So then what we always tell our significant others, we always need a new tool for something. I need more space. I digress. I'm gonna use a wire brush and I'm gonna clean right here in this area where the hardware of the brake pads sit, just to knock off any of the rust, the corrosion, just to clean it up. Because this is where a lot of issues our brakes stem from, is rust gets behind the hardware and then rust jacks the pad in place. I also make sure you don't want to breathe any of this dust, so do this in a ventilated area. There we go. Pull the pins out. Thankfully these are not seized. Clean the pins with some brake clean. Put some brake clean in there. Clean out that old grease the best that you can. If you have a small pipe cleaner, you probably stick down in there and clean it out that way. Or you can spray it in here like I did and then dump it all over your workbench when you tilt the bracket upside down like I just did. Now I would clean these out too. I just take a paper towel and go through it like this. Cleaning all the grease that I can on the inside out. Also making sure that these are not ripped, cracked, anything like that. And then on to the slide pins themselves. Make sure these are nice and clean. Like all this old grease, caliper grease, get that all out of there as best of your ability. Same thing with this guy. Now we're gonna get our brake grease. We don't need a lot of this, so I usually take my finger and kind of rub it on there like that. I don't think you need a lot of grease to do this. And put it back in there. Make sure it rotates. Make sure it's free. And then I put brake grease, a little bit of it here behind the abutment hardware, and that's it. So we're going to do that. This way it stops the rust and corrosion from getting behind the hardware and rust jacking the brake pads. And then I have the pads. What is this? Remove, peel up this before assembly. Peel off plastic. Okay. There's no lip or anything. And that's metal. I wonder if this is a film. I've never seen this before. Have you guys seen this? This is Duralast Gold. That's what my sister got. So I'm just going to score. Okay. I'm not real sure what this is. I don't think this whole thing comes up because isn't it a plastic shim or a metal shim? So what is this plastic? Oh, it's a plastic. What the hell? Okay, that's new and different. The hardware for this is gonna go like this. Springs on the outside like this. Not fighting that one. Like so. And then you just slide this in. Like so. Now I don't put grease in on the ears because that grease can attract dirt. And I feel I don't really need it there. As long as they move freely, I wouldn't put it there. I would put it where the hardware meets the caliper itself. But that's just what I do. Your vehicle, you do it differently. As long as it's freely moving, there's no issue. And we have another one. Peel the plastic off. How about I don't stab my fingers with a screwdriver? Whose genius idea was this? What is the point of this plastic if you're going to have me peel it off? At least give me a pull tab to peel the plastic off. There we go. Okay. And then as you're doing this, no, wrong way, dumbass. There we go. There we go. Make sure that you don't get any of that brake grease on the pad. Now I usually assemble my caliper bracket here on the bench before I go back down to the rotor and put it back on the rotor. You could put this bracket on first and then put your pads on. However you understand the workflow and what you want to do. That's done. Set that to the side. I'm going to clean off these caliper bracket bolts. You know, the old Loctite, or whatever the hell this is on here. So the threads are nice and clean, or cleaner than what they were. That's the idea that we're going for. What is this? Because this doesn't want to come out. It's going to drive me up a wall because it's not clean. This is where a vise would come in handy, and I wouldn't have to hold it. Oops, a little carried away there. Now it's time to go down and clean the rotor surface and put it all back together. Back down at the truck now. Take a wire brush and clean off the hub here to knock off the loose rust and corrosion. So I have a cleaner mating surface here. And I'm going to put some anti-seize on this outside ridge where my thumb's at and on this inside ridge so that the rotor doesn't get rust welded to this hub again. Before I put the anti-seize on, I'm going to put the rotor on here to get some brake clean to at least clean it. Since they're only doing a pad slap here on the front. So I want any grime and whatnot off the rotor so that the brakes have a good surface to grind into. And then flip it around and do it again on the other side. Oh, this has got some grooving in it. They should really replace these rotors, but on the front, they only wanted to do a pad slap. It's their truck, not mine. And I'm not charging to do this, so. Although, I have done pad slaps in the past with the Flex. I've done pad slaps on the rear. The rotors weren't that bad. And I intended on doing brakes again within the next year. So I just bought a cheap set of pads just to get me through. Now with that done, some anti-seize. A little goes a long way with this stuff, so don't go haywire with it. And then I'm going to put it on the inside ridge right here as well. That way the rotor doesn't get rust welded to the dam. Perfect. Now I gotta clean again, making sure I don't have any grease or anything else on this brake surface of this rotor that could affect the stopping power. And that's it. All right. Now I'm gonna put some Loctite on my caliper bolts. I'm gonna do one at a time. I'm using blue so it can be removed by hand. And then I'm going to put my whole caliper assembly in here. How about I figure out which I want to do at first. Make sure that if you have a lug nut, put a lug nut here to hold the rotor. These lug nuts aren't pass-through lug nuts, so what the heck? What am I missing? Yeah. So I put a lug right here to hold this rotor in place. Now I'm going to put my caliper on, like so. I put blue Loctite on this caliper pin, or this caliper mounting bolt here. And then I'm going to try and hand thread this in here. I'm going to do the same thing to the other mounting bolt right here. Oh, that's too much. That's too much. Too much came out. I don't need that much Loctite. A dab will do ya. There we go. These go down to hand tight. Now I'm going to torque these to 130 foot-pounds. I found that number online. Several videos I had referenced had mentioned 130 foot-pounds. I don't have access to a shop manual, so let me know in the comments if that number is within range or not. You're in my way. You're kind of in my way because I need to go like right here. So, click. Finally. Now, let me move you here real quick. Out here. This would be where having a lift would come in handy because this torque wrench is long and I don't have much space between the bottom of the truck and the driveway. So I don't have a lot of leverage right here to use this torque wrench. But it clicks, and that's what I need. In the caliper itself, oh, these are broke, or these are cracked. I don't know if you're gonna see it on camera, but right where my thumb's at, the boots are cracked. So I'm gonna have to let them know they're gonna need a new caliper or a new caliper. I don't know, can you get boots individually? I'll let them know. I just take a wire brush and clean the front of the pistons off, and then I clean the ears of the caliper off as well. Now, next comes another kind of hot button topic, and that is compressing these pistons back in here. do you loosen the bleeder screw and let that fluid that's in here that's been used come out? Or do you just push all this fluid back into the lines, back into the system? Now, my vehicles, because I loosen these bleeder screws every brake job, I know they work. And I drain the fluid out. But this is my sister's fiance's truck, and I don't have any history on this truck. I don't know what's been done, what's not been done. It's 12 years old. I don't have the tools on hand necessary to either break this free or to try to break it free, like a butane torch or something like that. I don't have that. And I don't have tools at the ready to fix if that was to get stuck in there or if that was to break off. I don't have the tools to kind of fix that oopsie at that moment. So I'm going to leave that alone and just push the fluid back into the brake line. And then let them know at some point, given the age of the truck, they're going to need to do a brake flush. Probably when they replace this caliper, because these boots are pretty bad. So I'm going to push on these very slightly. And hopefully they retract in there. If they don't, they might have to buy a new caliper because these pistons might be seized. I'm hoping that's not the case. They're going back in. But they're not really going in smooth. There's some resistance. I also did not remove the brake reservoir cap up top. Again, let me know in the comments on what you guys do when you work on your own vehicle. I'm not sure that's far enough back in there. I'm thinking they're still sitting out. This is a very slow, tedious process. I also don't want to break this or ruin this caliper at all. I think that's as close as that's going to get. Clean these off again. The hell was that? There we go. Okay. Now we just put this back on. But I got a feeling the pads, the pistons, are not compressed enough. Oh, this bitch is kind of like awkwardly heavy too. And I'm getting too old for this job. Oh, when you get to my age, everything falls apart. Okay, let's try this again. You know what I need? I should invest in one of those little rolling stools that they sell at the auto parts store. Now I think I should be able to put this on there. Oh yeah. Ow! Perfect. Now we have our caliper sliding bolts. These get torqued to 30 foot-pounds. I can't find the hole again. This whole job has been about finding holes, and I've failed every single time. What am I missing? Really, legitimately. As you go to torque these down, you might need a second wrench right here to hold the pin itself. Make sure that wrench is very thin so you can get between the backing of the slide pin bolt flashing and the caliper itself. On the front of the rotor, you can see these little spots right here. That's where the rim touches the rotor. So I'm going to clean this up like so. You can use those lines to put the anti-seize so that the tire doesn't get rust welded to the rotor. And then you don't have to use a sledgehammer like I did to get the tire off. Then the impact is safe to zap them down. Do it every other one. Drop the truck down and torque these to 130 foot-pounds in a star pattern. Oops. And that's it. Same as the front, I jacked the rear up here on the frame rail. Here is the floor jack, and here's the jack stand. Now, I've read online that people will jack up the rear end using the pumpkin or what's called the rear differential. If you do jack up the vehicle right there, make sure you chalk your front tires so the vehicle doesn't come rolling back on you. Like the front, loosen the lug nuts while the tire is on the ground. The only issue here is there's a lot of space right here, and getting to this tire might be more of a challenge than the front. Can I help you? Well, damn. Hi. Oh, well, this is going to be a challenge. Watch out, Cosmo. Go. I need to get a better angle. Oh! Damn it. Well, fuck my life. Yes! That was... Did I say already I'm getting too old for this stuff? Now with that out of the way, this... Oh my, what happened over here? This is all discolored. Brick dust, maybe? This rotor's not in good of shape. And those pads look to be non-existent. Now, let's get this caliper off. I believe the caliper pins are a 10 millimeter. Okay, well, that one moves. Give me back my socket. Oh, the bottom one looks like it's been chewed up a little bit. Let's see if it's gonna move on me. There we go. That was easy. Pull out the bolt, and I think we're good to go. That was simple. Now this caliper, I think, is the opposite of the driver's side. So the driver's side, it hooked in the bottom and then folded in. And here on the passenger side, I think it hooks in the top and folds in. So I'm going to have to push this pin back a little bit and pull this caliper from the bottom if I can, or not. Screwdriver. Oh, I've already started the habit of not bringing everything with me that I need. Gonna pry it out like that from the front. Oh, or not. Well, this is just a this is just gonna be a pain in my ass. Is what this is gonna be. Okay, there we go. So there's a little pin right here that you get out, and it should fold in. But this looks a little, well, this whole entire job wasn't easy from the get-go, so. I'm gonna try and use a screwdriver in here to compress this piston in here a little bit. Unlike the Flex or my Ford, the parking brake isn't in the caliper, it's parking brake shoes. So this piston is just a push-in piston like the front. And it comes off. And then you should hang it so it doesn't hang by the brake hose, but because we got plenty of room here, it's gonna rest right back here on the axle while I oh my god, there is nothing left on this pad at all. There is nothing left on this pad, which explains why there's metal shavings all in this area. I don't think I'm gonna get this pad out easily, but there's no braking material on it, I can tell you that. Alright, let's get the bracket off first. 21. Sweet. And, oh wow. This is discolored. This is discolored. Cool thing about here is there's plenty of room to work with the big tools. Cover your ears, cover your eyes. One done. Two. Ow. Three. Can I get this pad out now? Because it's pretty, I hate these brakes already. So here's the outside one. There's still pad material. The inside, on the other hand, well, it's gonna fight me the whole way. Here's the inside. There is no material up. Ouch! Don't run your hands across that, folks. Now, this rotor might be a challenge to get the rotor out. So I'm gonna use a sledgehammer and beat the front of this rotor so that it can break the rust bond. And as you do this, do not hit your studs, or you're gonna be up a bigger shit creek. Oh, and I did bring the other tool that I need. There's this clip right here that I'm pulling off. You little bastard. With a pair of side cutters here. Come on. Ouch. There we go. Well, come on. This comes off as well. Well, that broke it loose. I have a feeling that it's not loose enough. So, behind this hat right here is the parking brake for the pickup truck. And there's an adjuster here in the back, so let's get repositioned to show you that. So right here on the passenger side is this grommet. On the driver's side, it's going to be up here where my glove's at. Why it's inverse, I don't know. I'm going to try and pull this grommet out, or it's going to fight me. There we go. Come on, come on. Don't lose that. And in there's a little gear. I'm going to try and show you the best I can. There's this hole right here in the middle of your screen. And in that hole, there's a gear. You can take what they call a brake spoon and adjust that. Or what I was doing is using a screwdriver. So I apologize, I can't really show you that. But once that's loose and the parking brake is off and got some slack in it, you should be able to then wiggle your rotor off. So this is the parking brake. Right here's that gear that you have to reach through this hole right here, and that gear is adjusting the distance of these brake shoes. If they're too far out, then the rotor catches on this as you're trying to pull it off. Now we're going to do the caliper up here on the bench. I'm tired of being on the ground. Looking at this brake pad, yeah, it's pretty low. It actually has a groove. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera. There's a groove right here. Out with the old, in with the new. And never reuse brake hardware either. Always put new brake hardware on. Right here, you can see there's rust inside here. Rust gets between the hardware and the caliper bracket, and it pushes this out, and then it seizes your pads. So we do away with that. Little wire brush. Clean all that out. Caliper while I'm at it, or the bracket anyway. So all I'm doing is just cleaning where the hardware is going to sit. And decent price pads and expensive ones come with hardware. The cheaper the pad, it may not come with hardware. Before I put the brake pad, the hardware on, I'm going to coat where it sits. I lost my, there we are. Now we just put our hardware on the bracket. How about I line up? Oh, interesting. So there's clips under this bracket, and there's indentations right here where my pinky finger's at. So make sure you put them on the right side. Now, like the front, I don't put caliper grease on the ears. I wonder if these have, nope, these do not. So then these slide in, like so. Although, this has always been a challenge, because when I did the driver's side earlier, I spent like 20 minutes trying to get these stupid pads in this bracket, and I was not a happy camper. Because I'm not real sure. There we go. I lost the pad. There it is. Now, for some reason, the rears were always a challenge to get this pad in. So I pry this finger up here a little bit on both sides to get the pad finger seated inside, like so. Now our bracket is done. Using the bolts and a wire brush here, clean the threads of these off. And we're done. Now we go down to the truck and put everything back together. With the face clean, we get our new rotor. Put our rotor on. Grab our towels and our brake clean. And you want to clean the grease off of this. And then do the other side. Well, what the heck? Quit taking my paper towel.
Clean. Like so. Now.
Oh crap. As the rotor sits on the whole surface of this. Although I'm not sure if the brake shoes are more of an issue pulling the rotor off or if it's being rust welded to this hub. Let me know in the comments. Make sure my gloves are clean of any of that crap. Line it up. And that's it. And we're back. Some Loctite on the bolts. Just a dab. Just a dab. Put our carrier with our pads back in here. Grab a bolt. And we try to find a hole again. There we go. There we go. Oh, hell. Now these go to 130 foot-pounds, just like the fronts. Oh, snacks. At least there's more clearance here. Although, you're in my way. Click. I definitely need shallow sockets. Click. Okay. Now we bring our caliper back here. Get my hair out of my face. It's always in my face. Now we're doing a caliper. And these pins aren't like the front. These are kind of made into the caliper itself. So you just push these through towards the bleeder port. And there's your slide pin. Now these rubber grommets are in this caliper. I'm not sure if they come out or not. I would assume they do, because if they rip, you'd have to replace them. This isn't my truck, so I don't have an answer on that one. And but what I'm going to do then is take a screwdriver and wrap a paper towel in it, like this, and I'm going to push it through this grommet, being careful that my screwdriver doesn't come out of the paper towel and rip this grommet. And I'm going to try and get all the grease out that way. I don't know if I would put brake cleaner in there, because I've heard that brake cleaner will degrade the rubber grommet. Let me know what you guys would do down in the comments. Perfect. This doesn't look too bad. We'll have to clean it again. And then we spray our slide pins. So with our slide pins done, I'm going to take some brake grease on my finger and put it all over the pin itself. And then I'm just going to push this pin back through this grommet is my goal. And I don't know if I'm going to achieve that goal or if it's going to be a pain in my ass. Something tells me I'm not going to be able to achieve it that way. Well, this would be a real pain in the ass to do. There we go. Push that through. Make sure the other side seats. And then wipe off the excess. And then rinse and repeat for the other side. There's the birds, gotta be that loud. And they move. This piston doesn't look too bad. At least it's not cracked like the front one was. I would let them know. But I'm going to clean this face up here and then knock the rust off right here. I also want to make sure these pins go all the way back so that putting it on the bracket will be much easier to do. And then I'm going to use my front piston pusher because I don't have a single one. And then I'm just going to push this piston back. Could probably use the brake pad, the old brake pad, put it right here so the finger has something to press against. And as I'm pushing this back, I'm making sure that this rubber boot here is folding correctly. Doesn't have air trapped in it. This went back better than the front did. There we go. Now, quick wipe. And you have this lip right here, so this has to go in first, and then the caliper folds down. Oh, let's not get this tangled up in here. Come on, Lorsh. Okay, there we go. Let's not get that tangled up. So you saw how I had the top in. Well, now I got to do the bottom right here. And it is the challenging thing to. Come on. And now we gotta put this back on. You know what I'm thinking I'm gonna do? Oh, what the heck? I do not like this style of caliper. I surely can agree on that thing. I'm gonna put a bolt. Well, come on. There we go. Well, this is a struggle of a bus. And this isn't even a bus to work. Oh my lord. Okay. What am I? Okay, so that's there. So now I need to move this back more. No, it's gonna come back more. Because I can't. Well, this is a pain in the ass. What the hell with this? Like, what am I missing? Holy crap. It doesn't. Well, this is a fucking shit show here. Oh, what the I can't move this up anymore. I can't move this up because it's on this caliper bracket right here. It's getting hung up right there. I can't move it down. And then I push this pin too far in. And then this doesn't get aligned. The engineer that thought of this, you are a pain in the ass. You know that? God damn it! Something's not right. This pin keeps coming out because I keep pushing it up against the bracket right here to get it over the pin that's right here. But it's like there's not enough clearance to do that. Ouch! And then I get it up there, and I don't understand this one goddamn bit. I don't think the caliper the pin should be out that far though. But I'm up against the top of this, the way that I need to be. I don't see the pin's already out of the boot right there. The pin gets smashed in the boot right there. Right there's the boot. So that's where it's got to go. And then I put this caliper on here, and it doesn't fit. See, it falls off. I gotta hold this and get repositioned because the bottom doesn't come back in. My God, this, who the f still isn't on? I'm confused. Legitimately, I don't understand. Okay. Things pushed up against the caliper, or against the rotor here. So there's no wiggle room there. I can't. I got it. Well, I got one in. I don't know about the other one. So the other one, I don't understand why I don't understand. What the hell is it on? Why won't it? I legitimately don't understand this. I don't know. I mean, the bolts are in, but I don't like it. I don't like how it's sitting. So the top I can thread in by hand, but the bottom wants to bind up. And I don't fully understand. Okay, there we go. Well, that was like 15 minutes worth of pain in my ass. These bolts get torqued to 24 foot-pounds. Oh, come on. Come on. That's it. Finally done with that part. Now we have the tire on. And I smashed my finger between the tire and the rotor. And I hand thread all the lug nuts back on now. Run them down. Oh, give me back my socket. Pretty torqued. That one's torqued. That one looks good. Oops. Oh, I'm here. Oh, showered, cleaned. Brake job is done on this Ram 1500. And to me, it was more of a challenge. I'm not used to having tires rust welded to the rotors. because I change my tires out every 6 months between winter and all season. So I'm not used to that. And that rear caliper setup with the parking brake being separate outside the caliper, I'm not used to that either. So crawling underneath and behind the rotor and moving that plug and getting a little screwdriver and moving that gear either up or down to either loosen or tighten that parking brake to get the rotor off, that is all new to me. This was a challenge, and I enjoyed this challenge, and I enjoyed filming it and sharing it with you folks. I hope you enjoyed it as well. With that, I'll see all of you in the next one.